Hey guys, it's Alfred. I'm back with another video, and this one's going to be a little bit different from what I normally do. It isn't going to be our traditional play and explain, rather it's going to be a microstakes analysis. And for those of you that do play microstakes, you should already know that these pools don't really play close to GTO, and there's a lot of unique spots where we have to play very exploitative and essentially start playing street poker, as I like to call it. So that's essentially what I want to do, is look over these very unique spots that never come up and sort of just go through a thinking process. I also want to hear what you guys would do in this spot and sort of just spark some discussion, and hopefully we can all help each other improve. So in this microstakes analysis, I want to answer the question, can we fold kings pre-flop? And here's what happened. So I'm playing party poker 10NL, and generally the way these games play late at night is that they don't really fill up, so it's very short-handed. Sometimes it gets down to four-handed, but yeah. So early position opens, or in this case middle position, since we are five-handed, and then we have a cutoff and button call, and then we have a small blind squeeze. So the first thing we should do is start going over what this range is in small blind. And in theory, he should have all sorts of hands, such as ace 4 suited, ace 5 suited, ace 10 suited, ace jack, king queen suited, queen jack suited, even like tens and jacks. Basically these vulnerable hands, or hands that will flop good equity post flop and can benefit from picking up all this dead money. That's in theory. But one thing we need to keep in mind is that in these microstakes, a lot of these 3-betting ranges are pretty tight, especially if they are irregular or a thinking player. Just one thing to keep in mind. With kings, we still have a pretty easy slam dunk cold 4-bet. We can even go a bit bigger here, maybe 30 big blinds, but this is still fine. And then we have an early position jam. So what I've seen on the pools is that people are still very timid with their queens and ace king off. They're not really a fan of getting it in pre. A lot of them just call like 3-bets, even with ace king offsuit. It's just very timid play. So just based on that, we can already deduce that early position most likely has kings plus here. Basically, he only has kings, aces, and ace king suited. Either way, with kings, we still have a pretty easy call. But what happens when small blind decides to overcall? And I want you to take some time to think about this and essentially tell me, what would you do? So going over this, in theory, kings should still be a call. If you look at some solver analysis, some GTO charts or whatever, kings will be a slam dunk call here. But if we think about what the actual ranges are, can we actually fold kings here? So going over what I said previously, I already assumed that early position has kings and aces only, and maybe very, very occasionally ace king suited, and that's pretty much it. And there's only really 2 combos of that. Small blind shouldn't be really overcalling hands like ace king off, or even, yeah, basically. So he basically has queens plus here, and that's pretty much it. So if I give them those kind of ranges, we need 24% equity to call, since we have 3.2 to 1 to call, and against those ranges we only really have 22%. Even without having Equilab open and running like the equity calculation, it's a pretty easy fold in my opinion, just because of how tight these ranges are. So that's what I did. And then we have a run out here, and just based on the outcome, I'd say we make a pretty nice laydown. So yep, I really want to hear what you guys have to say, or what kind of analysis you guys would do in this spot. And yeah, hopefully we can all help each other improve.